Share with us what's something that went sideways but ended up with a happy a blessing, a good ending. Notice I didn't say a happy ending, folks. I didn't want to get in trouble in saying that. But.
Roll down on the star looking for a place where the Longhorns. Oh, howdy folks. Andrew, producer of the Brightside here. Just want to let you know that this show was sponsored in part by Howdywood.shop, Texas lifestyle apparel for every Texan out there. If you want to go get you some merch, use code Brightside at checkout to get 50% off. All right, I'm going back to hang out with old Ryan here. Roll down on the star.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Find Your Brightside. I'm your host, J-Man, and today I've got an award-winning actor, writer, producer, and close friend, Jonathan Murphy, in the studio. John, thanks for coming by today.
I appreciate you, Jerry. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So let's just chop it up. Let's get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
You're more than just a native Texan.
Is there more to
Well, you got a brand on your ankles, what I heard.
Oh, I do. Yes.
That shows a love of the state right there,
Do
folks.
I have to show it?
Yeah, well, if you want to, you can. Let's see here.
See if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it.
This is an extra casual show, so.
Yeah, see?
Oh, looky there, folks.
Dry
How about
skin.
that?
It's cold outside.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Ironically, I got that done in California.
They got it done in California. Well, you know, speaking of, you were born here in Arlington, Texas.
Correct, yes.
And at an early age, I guess 17, you found your way going out to the West Coast to be in the movie business, be in the TV business.
I did. I started at 17 and made the move. I decided when I was right about to turn 20 to move to Los Angeles from here. After doing like one of those like talent show things that I had just found on looking for auditions, in Dallas, and I met some casting people that were out of LA and a manager, and 2 weeks later was
You were off and running.
Yep. Yeah.
And you stayed out there for how long?
Oh gosh, I mean, most of my adult life was in California. I lived in California for over 20 years and lived in New York a little bit, but most of my time was spent after I left Texas, in Los Angeles.
Well, I guess when we first met 3 or 4 years ago, you had just moved back from California.
I did. It was right before COVID hit. And there was a project we were working on that was going to be based out of Texas. So things were just kind of lining up, to work out that way. It ended up, family matters happened, and it was a good thing I was here. So stayed here for a couple of years and am now out on the East Coast.
Out on the East Coast in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful part of America.
Yeah. It's nice to be in front of the clock. I'm used to being 3 hours behind everything.
Right. Oh,
now
yeah, you're an hour ahead. That's right.
Exactly.
I remember when we get on our Zooms, we got to keep that in perspective.
Exactly.
Well, that's got to be pretty interesting, getting to live both in the center of America, living on the West Coast for a good part of your adult life, and now being on the East Coast. I'd have to think for a guy that likes to write, that diversity really kind of helps you see things from a different perspective of somebody staying in the same place their entire life.
I like to think so. I think it's very informative. Unfortunately, living in so many places like that, you got to get your stuff and get there somewhere or somehow. So I've driven through a lot of states. I've driven through all of Middle America. I've driven up the West Coast, so I have seen a lot. And like you said, I think of it as my brain is just kind of inputting like a computer. Everything I see, the people you come across, the little towns and stuff, you never know when you're going to need that.
So you're a guy that would rather travel the back roads than get on the highway?
Not necessarily.
It depends on how far you got to go.
Yeah, exactly. You get there quick, but once I get to the small town quickly, I want to take some back roads and explore.
There you go. There you go. Well, Jonathan, when you think back to your younger self, what were you chasing back then?
Oh man, that's a great question. I mean, moving. I have a niece and nephew who are about to turn 16 this year, and imagining them moving from Texas to Los Angeles, of all places, in 3 or 4 years is mind-blowing. I really think that what urged me to kind of make that move was, necessity. I was chasing where I needed to be, what I thought. I was also, everybody I think that has big Hollywood dreams, dreams of stardom and fame and all of that sort of stuff. I think though when you get a little taste of that, or you get to see what that looks like up close, that kind of starts to fade away a little bit. I really think I was too chasing, professionalism and wanting to be a professional and get paid to do what I wanted to do. That's what was sold to me as the ultimate. Oh, if you can get paid to do what you love, then you've made it. And true in some terms and untrue in others. But yeah, I think that those things were what propelled me to get out there and take a risk that I don't know if I'd be brave enough to do nowadays.
Because the world's changed. I mean, that was a couple decades ago that you
come on,
ventured
you didn't
out.
have to say decades. But yeah, it's a few years ago. Yeah, it has changed a lot.
Well, reflecting back on your nieces and nephews, at 16, they're just starting to come into the world, and this is an experience that you can share with them. Share with us what's something that went sideways but ended up with a happy blessing, a good ending. Notice I didn't say a happy ending, folks. I didn't want to get in trouble in saying that. But.
Really, I think that it's, in speaking in terms of a business sense and what I've spent a lot of my life doing, I think I would answer that question by saying personal relationships that I gave a lot of credence to, or gave a lot of weight to, or valued people's opinions, probably, in terms of who they were and what they meant to me, was a little bit excessive. And when actions or things would happen and reveal character about people, I think that it's hard to wash off those true colors. And I did have relationships that were meaningful to me, and that I thought professional and personal, that were meaningful, but ended up not working out for this reason or that, as everyone does. Everyone experiences that in their life in some form or another. And those, in just kind of a philosophical approach to living, things happen as they should.
Sure.
So,
well, in writing, I read something recently. I think it was Christopher Nolan or somebody. Out of 28 things, 13 of them got made, and that's like a huge record. If you get 1 out of 10, man, you're doing well with that. So you have to be able to find a way to, I don't want to say accept rejection, but know that you're not taking it personal. Right. Story might be a great story. It just doesn't line up perfectly with timing or financing or directors. So many variables that can change or control what you're working on.
So many. And my advice to a young actor just starting out now, get over all that sort of stuff. Because all the stuff that's not in your control, there's no reason to worry about that sort of stuff. But I had a unique kind of inroad to learning how to accept rejection being an actor for so long. If you book 1 out of 100 auditions, you're doing pretty good. So learning to hear no and accepting that in a language that says it's not about me. I was too tall, or they wanted a blonde guy, or so-and-so's brother
just can't take those things personal.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to your youth real quick. Okay. Was there a situation at home that led you to maybe want to do some acting, like a fire pole in your house? Come on, we want to know this story.
Oh no. Well, my dad was growing up was a firefighter. Started in Fort Worth, and then when I was growing up in Arlington, was one of the assistant chiefs for the city. And they built my dad and my family built the house that I grew up in. And apparently, as the story goes, his father told him that, if you ever build a house or anything like that, we'll go put you a fire pole in there. Because my dad was a firefighter by his whole life when he was a kid. When water was still on the trucks, my grandmother said he would follow the water trail to the actual fires. It was ingrained in him so much. So it's something that he wanted in the house, and they built a 2-story house, and it's still, my brother lives there with his family today.
Right.
It's still up there from the 2nd floor down to the 1st floor.
Okay, tell us more about that. Come on, you got to have a couple of cool stories about having a fire pole in your house.
Everybody that came over wanted to slide down. They often got fascinated because I was, a little monkey as a kid and climbing up the pole rather than interested in going down. But no, it just a bronze fire pole that was taken out of an old station that was getting torn down and rebuilt, I believe. And he got it and incorporated it into the plans.
It's had some real history on that.
100%. 100%. Real firefighters riding down that thing.
Yeah.
Go help people.
But it probably made you a popular guy for the sleepovers, I guess.
Oh, everyone who came in wanted to go. Like, they literally, can we go down? Can we go down? Multiple, not just once either. Like,
I expect adults also wanted to do that. I know
we won't
folks,
talk about that.
I would want to slide down a fire pole.
We won't talk about the adults.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Give us something else from your childhood that was really memorable to you, that helped kind of craft who you became.
Oh man, well, I still, being from Texas, I have a love of, all the local sports teams, because sports was a huge thing in our family growing up. My brother played, I played, a lot of friends, and I literally played sports up until I quit to do theater, in high school. So it was something that I still carry with me, and I know that this will hurt the Dallas fans, but I wore this today.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
I can't say I was sad, but I was sad for my friends.
That's
around here. But I carry my roots with me. Obviously tattoo and stuff, and I have a lot of Texas pride that goes with me everywhere I go.
Well, Jonathan, you talked about the pride that you have for your sports teams. You got some pride for your school over there in Fort Worth, TCU. I guess being that Landman's featuring that all the time on every episode, share with us a little bit, how does that help a college when they're featured often in a stellar show like Landman?
Oh, well, it doesn't hurt one bit. They, personally, I think that it's great visibility, and that's a university that's continually growing, and to see that program even being involved on such a major level, that, to be honest with you, if when I was there, if something was available like that, to me, it would have been really enticing to get involved in that. And you can't really buy that type of, placement in a show once a guy like a Taylor Sheridan made that choice, and I'm not sure if he has personal ties to the school or not, but once they make that for the university, it's obviously, with its sports program and success, has visibility, but something like that opens it up to an entire, new, not talking in terms of markets, but a market of people who had probably never heard of it, never seen Fort Worth. I love that they're actually showing bits and places of Fort Worth in the show.
And it's not just the places that he's bought. He bought Cattleman's Steakhouse over there, right, and they've used that in several episodes of Landman. But you see M.L. Letty's, you see Mavericks, you see a lot of Fort Worth. Yeah. Is that important for a director to make those kind of decisions for financial reasons, for personal reasons? Why do they do that?
For all of the above. Producers will look at a place, especially with the director, if he has the vision of kind of what it looks like, which I'm sure they did with that show. There are financial reasons to decide, just like the film we shot in Shreveport. There's legislation in place. There's state benefits for being in a place like that come into consideration. But the artist and creative in me wants to say that, like, yeah, that's what they envision the world to look like, and they can't envision it really being anywhere else. But the reality in economics is that you need a support system, and the fact that Fort Worth, obviously Dallas has had that for a long time, but the fact that Fort Worth is, kind of now in the race and trying to catch up and building that infrastructure, it's just only going to be a positive reinforcement for other productions, other people wanting to come here and show the places that they haven't shown yet. You know? It's a big city, big area.
Well, you mentioned the movie that I guess y'all are in post-production now, the movie you shot in Shreveport?
We did, yeah. We're almost done. We're literally a few weeks away from getting it locked. It's called Drowning. We ended up shooting that in Shreveport, but we sourced a lot of crew members and stuff from other areas, including Dallas.
But that was important because of Louisiana's rebates, I guess. I'm using the right word, Jonathan?
100%.
Tax rebates?
They're incentives that they offered us. We're winding down that process now, and it's a huge benefit to be able to essentially make something at a certain value and then get rebated amount where you're getting more of your money back, but you're not losing any of the value that you spent putting into production and that sort of stuff. So it's really what kind kind of siphoned everything from California,
right?
And hopefully, and
Georgia
Texas,
became a major production hub as Louisiana started to do, and now Texas has got on this bandwagon with this. Folks, before we talk about Texas, that movie's called Drowning. I got to see a rough cut of that. It'll be well worth seeing when it comes out. Stay tuned. We'll let you know when it drops. Okay, so SB 22 happened in Texas. Yeah. Making Texas as financially viable as any other state, I guess, to do production if you do it right.
100%, and that's going to make it extremely competitive in the decision making because Texas has great infrastructure. They have a lot of crew, that have great crew members, especially now that shows like a Landman and stuff are shooting here. I think 1883 and all that stuff.
A bunch of things. Ross Perot Jr. and Taylor Sheridan have built or working on a huge studio out near Alliance Airport. So I think they're filming some stuff out there currently.
It's just going to create a magnet, and it's going to create another reason in the plus column why making movies, TV shows, commercials here makes sense in economic terms, financial terms, because at the end of the day, that's that has to be accounted for and considered, and I'm glad to see it. I think it's great. I think Texas has a lot to offer with this all environments and coast and sort of places you can.
Yeah, as big as Texas is, it certainly gives a lot of diversity that's not too far out of range to be able to go and film things. Austin's really taking a big presence now in the film business, as Dallas is, and we're excited that we got some stuff working on here in Texas. We got some stuff working on for Jonathan. We'll let you know about that here in the future. When life gets loud and heavy, what do you do to kind of bring it back all to center?
I think that, to me, what that signals is a disconnect. So usually, that's something I turn to something natural. If I need to go see an ocean or spend some time in some sand or some mountains or something like that, I think just clearing the mentals, clearing everything away, and zooming out the big picture, start thinking about the stars and the universe and how that quickly becomes a lot more manageable to kind of see how minuscule those problems and issues and stress can become.
Getting outside and around nature, I certainly think has a huge benefit. We were in Deep Ellum for 20 years, the entertainment hub of Dallas, and now that we've moved over here to the Longhorn Ballroom and Longhorn Landing and Amphitheater, I can quickly walk. In 3 minutes, I can be back there where there's some water and some nature, there's some birds. The other day when it's all frozen, saw this picture of this nutria rat, man. He was cutting a rug through there. And we're less than a mile away from the central business district of Dallas. So it's really nice that we can see outside, we can walk outside instead of being kind of confined into a building. So it's exciting to hear you say that same thing, that you get out and take a little walk, get out in nature, get your head cleared out. It's an important thing to do in today's time.
One of my favorite places in California, to get out, the redwood forest is like something I've never seen and experienced. And I think that, probably being a kid who grew up having to go play outside and, go run through the creek or whatever, all that sort of stuff, it always kind of felt balancing. And I think that it's, we talked about going back to childhood and stuff. I think it's just a reset like that, mentally. Get out in nature where you belong, and it kind of starts to erode away some of those negative
Helps
thoughts.
you find some bright side.
100%.
Folks, I like to say, when you shine a light, even just a little, people find their way. And in today's time, man, we're hit with so much noise and so much clutter. Being able to get away from that. If you can't, folks, find a way to get outside, do it mentally. Do it in your nougat. Close your eyes and think about some place that you visited that you really enjoyed, and take some deep breaths and just kind of get the funk. Breathe in the good and breathe out the bad, I like to say what Willie says, when you replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts, positive things start happening. And he's had a pretty good run, and he's not stopped yet. So there's got to be some merit to that.
You are a living testament to that. I could not find an ounce of negativity in you if I tried.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I strive for that every day. Now, it hits me every now and then, but when it does, I just try to find some way to think about something bright, listen to something bright, breathe in that air, get that new oxygen in. Here's a gut check for you, because you've done all this. Front of the camera, behind the camera, or writing. Which jazzes you the most?
I would say writing, behind the camera, in front of the camera, in that order. Yeah. Writing is ultimately creative. You're creating characters, the world, all that sort of stuff. That's where I love to live and be able, where I feel my most open and creative and imaginative. Behind the camera comes with a lot more work, comes with a lot more collaboration, comes with a lot more headaches. Because you're opening up that world that you've created and trying to, get 50 and 60 different visions of that to collaborate into one stream of consciousness that we're going to show people. In front of the camera, that's for more talented people than me.
I think you did some pretty good work back in your day. You still got. I think you got a little cameo spot in Drowning. You got to watch for him. I spotted him right away. I said, "Man, I know who that is."
That's good. I tried to disguise myself.
You were. Had like a beanie on and
glasses on and stuff. Well, I won't give too much away. So
no.
Look for me.
Yeah. So when are y'all thinking about having that out? What's a goal?
We're hoping that we can get it wrapped up by the end of this month, and it'll be all done. Then we're going to really hit the distribution part of that process hard. We're gonna have to find some great people that believe in it as much as we do, and get it out to folks as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. If we want to have it seen or shown at any of those festivals, obviously we'll try and make our mark in one of those that gets it out to and shines a light on it properly. But as soon as we can get it done, I'm excited for people to see it. I think it turned out really, really well. I think the director, Paul, did a great job with it. It was a long and arduous process, as the filmmaking process is, but at the end of the day, I think people are going to, relate to it and hopefully really respond to it. And, hopefully it's another one of those things too, like we're saying, if things are getting heavy and down, which is kind of some of the subject matter we tackle in that, hopefully this is an outlet for 130 or 140 minutes of them, just forgetting what's going on in life, and they can enjoy what we put out for them.
There you go. Folks, you think, okay, you got a script, you produce the film, then you got to get it distributed. Then you got to get it in front of people. But there's a lot of ways now to get distribution that wasn't available when you first got into the industry, I guess.
Oh yeah, and it's still evolving. I mean, the streamers changed the game. The DVDs are kind of going the way of the dinosaur. But yeah, it just is. This stuff stuff like this helps. It's building an audience, building support out there for people wanting to do good work. No AI was used in the making of our film. Except in post-production, I will give that caveat. Yeah. But we hope that it can be out there wherever it is. We're going to get it as much exposure as possible, and I appreciate you having me on and being able to tell people and make people aware of it just a little bit right now.
Well, it's interesting you brought up AI because it touches all of our lives in today's time. As a guy that's, like I said, been in front, behind, and wrote, do you find it's a necessary tool? It's a necessary evil? Give us your opinion about AI.
I think you said the right word. I think it's a tool, and I think it is advantageous, and I think it's overhyped right now. I think it's, because it's still got a lot of the unknown to it. But it's going to help, in speaking in a filmmaker's term, it's going to help in certain areas, just making things more efficient. And what does that usually translate to? It means saving dollars. So producers and guys like me who go out there and are signing checks, the more that we can save that, the more can go and benefit other areas. But I think as it evolves, we'll evolve with it, and if it's used as a tool, I think it can be effective. But it is just that. It's not a living, breathing entity that's going to, Godzilla all of Hollywood suddenly. It's a tool that's going to make what we do easier to do, and hopefully the quality is better. Who wouldn't want that?
Well, sure. Anytime that technology has an advancement like we've seen in the last few years with this, there's going to be naysayers, and there's going to be people that are like, man, this is the best thing that could have ever happened. It's how these tools get used. Yep. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be the story, folks. It's the story. People connect with that story, whether somebody wrote that story and AI helped them kind of make it better, or a group of writers, because as a writer, sometimes it's not just you. You got like other people in the writing room.
Oh yeah, your director's having input. You're depending on if you're writing alone, if you have another writer, you have actors coming in who have input.
The people put the money up. They want to change things.
They have, can we do this instead of that? Of course, they want to have a hand in the making of things, and I think AI can play. I think it was somewhere in an interview Ben Affleck was talking about something like this, where it kind of is it regresses to the mean. It's not giving you a fully developed, detailed kind of idea. So human interaction, human discussion, human conversation and collaboration is never going to go away in that way, because why we tell these stories is because we're looking for the human experience.
Sure. I'd have to close with this. It's kind of like garbage in, garbage out thing. AI, make me a movie. Well, you don't get that right there, nothing.
Yeah.
But if you spend a lot of time really working the nuances and putting the input of the information in, it's really just a tool now that's helping you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, Jonathan, before we got to close here in a few minutes, I got 5 questions. I learned this from Sammy Hagar on his rock and roll road trip. Got these 5 questions I'd like to ask everybody.
Okay.
Beatles or the Stones?
Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones. Barbecue or steak?
Barbecue.
And tell us why.
It's better.
It's better. All right, well, now this is going to be good for you. Beach or mountains? Because you kind of had an experience in both these areas.
Oh, man. Mountain cabin with a path down to the beach.
Oh, yes, a little combo there.
Yeah, exactly.
A little place over in the middle of the Pacific, I like that. I can look one direction, I see a volcano. I look the other direction, I see the blue ocean all the way to America.
You look in the middle, and there I am. Exactly.
Okay, so are you a early bird or a night owl?
these days, much more an early bird. At 10 o'clock, I'm in bed. I got gray in my beard now.
Well, I mean, you're still a young guy too, though. But
sometimes if I gotta stay out and bring the night owl out, I can. But in the morning, it's gonna hurt.
so how much do you need? Everybody needs a different amount. They tell us 7, 9 hours. Some people. I read Leonardo da Vinci slept like 5 minutes every hour or some shit. He broke it all up. He didn't do long stretches of sleeping. Yeah.
I don't compromise my sleep. I'm an 8 hours guy. If I feel it if I get less than that. It doesn't mean I can't go, but I try and get the recommended 8 hours.
Yeah, when you get as old as me, you can get about 3 or 4 hours in, then you got to go pee. Yeah. so maybe you get 6 or 8. You got to do it in shifts and everything. Yeah. Well, folks, Jonathan Murphy was gracious enough to come visit with us today and share a little bit of what he's got going on. We'll let you know when Drowning is out there available to watch, and we'll look for you to come back by when the next time you're coming to Dallas.
Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Jerry.
And remember, when you shine a light, even just a little, people find their way. Amen out.